Okay. And this is by ArsonAsher69. Okay. Longing. I watch her from across the room, never expressing, never telling. Hold on. Just gotta clarify. No writing anything in the first read. I almost was gonna underline something, but start with just enjoying this. Longing by ArsonAsher69. I watch her from across the room, never expressing, never telling, only ever observing. Her curls swish one way, her head the other, she turns to look, and I cower at the thought of being caught in her gaze. By eyes that have been blessed with a soul to hide, how could they ever meet mine so uncorrupt and full of life despite me? Nice. People say she's an angel, but she is far more human than you or I, only if she noticed my gaze. No. If only I looked up to meet hers. Very nice. This is the... I like it. It's melancholic for me. Reminds me of high school. No, this is really good. So I'm going to read it 2 more times probably, with no more analysis, and then analyze after as we do. It's my preferred way to do this process. I watch her from across the room, never expressing, never telling, only ever observing. Her curls swish one way and her head the other, she turns to look, and I cower. It was going to be a rhyme. I'm reading off of the OBS. And I cower at the thought of being caught in her gaze by eyes that have been blessed with a soul to hide. How could they ever meet mine so uncorrupt and full of life despite me? People say she's an angel, but she is far more human than you or I, only if she noticed my gaze. No, if only I looked up to meet hers. Oh, I love your last stanza. One more so I don't mess it up in the middle. Longing by ArsonAsher69. I watch her from across the room, never expressing, never telling, only ever observing. Her curls swish one way, her head the other. She turns to look, and I cower at the thought of being caught in her gaze. By eyes that have been blessed with a soul to hide, how could they ever meet mine, so uncorrupt and full of life despite me? People say she's an angel, but she is far more human than you are, or I. Only if she noticed my gaze. No, if only I looked up to meet hers. Okay. ArsonAsher has a crush on a girl. This is beautiful. This is really good. This is excellent. This is really good. So, it's funny because we had Fruit of Affection yesterday, which had a lot of this can't reach you, kind of stuff. It was off the paper thing you told me to do. I'm so glad you like it. Well, I'm glad you like it, at least enough to share it. And I think it's wonderful. And I'm glad that you were able to be keeping notes throughout your days, to be able to, you know, write it. So, use some really good language in this. So I'm just going to go through things that stick out to me. I watch her from across the room, never expressing, never telling, only ever observing, right? Pretty straightforward. Her curls swish one way, her head the other. She turns to look, and I cower at the thought of being caught. Good little rhyme. In her gaze. By eyes that have been blessed with a soul to hide, how could they ever meet mine so uncorrupt and full of life, despite me? People say she's an angel, but she is far more human than you are, or I. This line is excellent. Only if she noticed my gaze. No, if only. Great little thing there. And, I mean, like, that's cool. If only I looked up to meet hers. Dew on the grass, sitting in a tree, poeming? Are you sitting in a tree? If so, that's awesome. I love sitting in trees. So, no, like the kitty chant. Oh, I see. Poeming. Okay, that's really good. Poeming. That's funny. I watch her from across the room, never expressing her. I'm going to talk most about this last stanza, and then we're going to connect it back to before, because I'm such a fan. This idea of longing and desire, I think, is really showing here. People say she's an angel, but she is far more human than you or I. I think this is like really perfect for the subject of this longing, unrequited, observant desire. Hey, Agathis777. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. We're analyzing one of my viewers' poems. If you want to submit anything, you can do the submit command, and maybe I'll look at yours on today or a future stream. We have a lot of backlog. So this desire, which is very observant. I like this because this line says, lurk, yeah. Lurking is good. I appreciate you lurking. So, Ginny, you didn't set up lurking messages? What do I set up for lurking messages? What am I supposed to do as a Twitch streamer for a lurk command? Like, I honestly don't know because I don't lurk on streams. You say lurking is appreciated? Ah. It's just that emote 30 times. So I have a stream elements give auto message like, thanks for lurking, appreciate it. Okay. Yeah. But one for lurk. And it says like, thanks for lurking, I appreciate it. This makes sense. I understand. I shall do. No, you're good. I'm new to streaming, so you all helping me is very nice. Anything that you all, have to advise to improve my stream is appreciated. So, this line is saying, other people say, whatever, she's an angel, right? And then you, as this observer, this person who notices, and a person who is quite honestly correct here, say, no, that's wrong, she's human. Which is absolutely true and correct. People noticing people for their beauty is, and not as human, is sort of a saying that they're an angel. That sort of perfect beauty is, in a sense, dehumanizing. However, we're also contradicting ourselves, which is perfect. And I mean, there's so much self-contradiction in having a crush on someone, right? This sort of never expressing, wishing to say, looking and then cowering away. I mean, I've done this exact same thing with like a person sitting in front of me in class, wishing I could look at them and talk to them, right? But then in this sense, you are also just observing and not actually, you're not doing anything. You're not going in to appreciate and say, hi, I'm gonna be your friend. I want to know you as a human. Because as sort of nostalgic and beautiful as it is to crush over someone, you are also not engaging with the human part. And that's the difficulty of a crush, right? Because we already know that this is super beautiful, and there's a part of us that says, I'm okay to just be an observer, because there's enough beauty, and this person is a human who I respect. But also, I think this is selling yourself short. I mean, I'm always one to say, go say hi to the person and be their friend. Or just go up and tell them you like them for all I care. But, so this is one of the many contradictions in attraction. Attraction, which I'll do the heart, which is, it's whatever. I think a heart is honestly more indicative of attraction than love. Because you get that heart racing sort of feeling that this poem's describing, right? Attraction is full of contradiction. I'm actually her friend, but not like close. Yeah. Then go be closer. You want to be. Why don't you? And I mean, part of that is that you know that they're human. And in meeting the gaze and acknowledging all of this, you do run the risk of losing it all. And that's what we're afraid of, right? We're afraid of that. That's why we don't talk to people. But, try not to give you too much advice or suggestions, but this is very common. And it's sort of a beautiful little thing that we do. Now, only if she noticed my gaze. Right. She is far more human than you are or I, only if she noticed my gaze. If she would come and talk and we could make that connection, then you already acknowledge that you will see the humanity. I mean, you already see it, right? But engage with it. Oops. But no, we know that's wrong. We know that we're the problem. If only we looked up to meet hers. And this last line is excellent, because luckily you acknowledge that you're the one who needs to meet her gaze, ArsonAsher. And I'm just reading what you're saying. You have acknowledged you need to look up and meet her gaze, and you don't. That's the contradiction, right? And that's hard. By eyes that have been blessed, with a soul to hide, how could they ever meet mine, so uncorrupt and full of life despite me? She is this angel. She is perfect. I cannot type. Right? And I, in contrast, am corrupt and not full of life. And, this is understandable. We read your poem deep. And I mean, if I'm going to look at a poet, I'm going to look at their work that I already know and what I know about them from their work. And you're a pit who pulls people down, and you're out of this pit, right? But to some degree, you're not that pure, perfect person in your own eyes. You say that here. And we've seen that before in ArsonAsher. And we don't want to show that imperfection to someone we see as perfect. People say she's an angel, but she is far more human than you or I. Again, the internal contradiction is poetry, because she is human. And people say she's an angel, but we also see her as uncorrupt and full of life, and we see ourselves as different somehow, even though we see her as far more human. And I think that line is indicative of this whole thing. Humanity. We see her as more, but we see her as this angel, and that means we see ourselves as less and as this corrupt thing, and yet we also say that she's human, which is just incompatible with this, and we're also human because we are corrupt and messed up. And this is a whole web of contradictions, right? Then that is love and desire. I'm not accusing you of anything. This is how life is. I have done this too. Most of the people in this chat, if they've been in high school, have done this too. Or college, or after college. People go at their own rate. Could be before that, you know? And, I mean, how does this break down, right? And it breaks down because at the end of the day, we're all human. And every human is human. So, you know, if we want to respond to this poem, we say that, like, the whole second half is kind of imprecise and not indicative of how life works. Which is why we're writing poems about it, and why we're suffering, and why we're never expressing, and why we're never telling, and why we're only observing. And that's why this is so freaking hard. Because we usually don't know how to not contradict ourselves. And I cower at the thought of being caught in her gaze. And I keep saying that everyone in this chat has probably felt this, or lots of people. I mean, anyone who desires other people. Might have some arrow aces out there, I don't know. But I like this so much because of how quickly and how accurately it describes a really widely felt emotion. That's so blurry. Come back. Stop being blurry. There we go. It's accurate. And it's artistic in that. And sometimes it can be hard to express this much in such a short poem. Precisely. Right? I also got some poems about longing, but they make me seem like a creep. I don't remember if I was intentionally creepy or not. I don't like performing those. Yeah, longing can make you feel like a creep and seem like a creep, and that's part of it. You're like, I've been spending so much time with this person on my mind that now I'm like corrupt and watching them and this imbalance. But again, everyone does this, has done. Everyone does this, has done this, probably to some extent is doing this. Took so long because you tried so hard to make it not seem like that. Yeah. And, I mean, I think this line, like, really dissolves any amount of creepiness that someone might interpret there, so long as they're really reading this line. Ginny, do you want to read one of those creepy ones on stream? Yeah, we can do it at some point. But, you know, from you 2015 to 2016, that's like 100 years ago. If only I looked up to meet hers, right? We're saying that, like, I think this acknowledgement does a really good job of dissolving any of the, like, sort of quote-unquote creepiness here, which I don't really feel there is any, right? Now, you also probably feel some things that feel like they could be seen as creepy. Longing for another person, we all do. It's like, to long for another person is kind of a creepy thing. So, to some extent, I also encourage you to try to write something creepy that is like this. Write a poem. You don't have to share it with anyone. You probably shouldn't share it with anyone if you think it's going to make you seem creepy. That processes and goes through all of the creepy crawly emotions that you have. Right? Because that is going to help you understand them. I'm sure this poem helped you understand your longing. I'm sure this poem helped you understand the pit inside of you. I'm sure this poem helped Sainiri understand their sense of affection. This poem is helping me understand my train track attempts. This poem probably helped Rutger Copland understand his marriage in a deeper way. That's what poetry helps us do, right? So there's nothing wrong with writing the creepy feelings. I might have creepy feelings, maybe, if I look around. You want me to try to find some creepy poems, some creepy feelings? I don't know if I have any, to be quite honest. But there might be something. You don't really have the creepy emotions? Perfect. If you don't have them, that's great. That's fine too. Singularity sounds broken. I have so many poems. It's down there. Anything further back? No. This one's creepy in a different way. It's not attraction creepy, but it's about killing a child. And it gets really interesting. You can also write about emotions you don't have. I don't have emotions about killing a child, but I wanted to write about it. I was given a challenge by a professor, or he was talking about that it was an assignment that he gave to people in the past, right? Where he tells them, imagine a person who you cannot agree with on any moral issue. Anything, right? Someone who you sort of absolutely abhor for whatever they think. And go write something, go write a poem, or a writing, just like you can write prose from their perspective. I was doing a poem in this case. From their perspective. Honest to their emotions. Right? Don't try to judge them in what you are writing. Don't try to inject your things, and don't try to minimize and explain away what they're feeling. Just try to write and understand them. That can help you find empathy in your writing, right? It's a really cool professor. Yes, do on the grass. It is. I'm gonna put that in the Discord. Write a poem. No, write a work. Write something from the perspective of a morally abhorrent person. Challenge. any of you who want to take this up, it's in the Discord, exclamation point Discord, whatever. And I'll read mine, because I did this a few streams ago. Okay, but first, we're not moving on too quickly. I need to read Asher's poem again, because that's what we do. Because I think it's short, there's a nice, easy analysis. So I'm going to read it again. And it's a very sort of perfect, it's very perfect depiction of longing. So, Longing by ArsonAsher69. I watch her from across the room, never expressing, never telling, only ever observing. Her curls swish one way, and her head the other. She turns to look, and I cower at the thought of being caught in her gaze. By eyes that have been blessed with a soul to hide, how could they ever meet mine, so uncorrupt and full of life, despite me? People say she's an angel, but she is far more human than you are or I. Only if she noticed my gaze. No, if only I looked up to meet hers. So, Arson Asher, thank you for this one. This is a very intimate poem and difficult one to share about your feelings. But we accept all the feelings here on twitch.tv/2/lotus, right? So thank you for sharing it. It was my pleasure to read, to analyze, to dig into something that felt very sort of, from my perspective, like looking in on this very sort of close-held part of your life. Yesterday we talked about, with the other affection poem, how sometimes reading someone's work can feel voyeuristic. I feel like I'm looking at something I'm not supposed to see, because it's something that you don't normally share. This one is actually a lot easier than deep, because I can't be with the girl. She has a boyfriend to share. I see. And that happens. You'll find a person. It can take a while. I don't know how old you are, but you've probably got lots of time. I've had probably like a dozen boyfriends or girlfriends or they friends. So you'll get there. But I do sincerely appreciate your she just looked really pretty in the sun. Yeah. And that's fair. Yeah, I mean, that's cool too. It doesn't have to be this like deep and profound thing either. But you also have made a poem that feels very deep and powerful and indicative of that sort of emotion. So you did a really good job. So again, thank you for sharing. It is my pleasure to read your works and the works of everyone else who sends their things on this little Twitch community that we have going. I'm so happy you like it. I'm so happy you are happy that I like it. And I'm so happy that you like it enough to have sent it. And I hope you've maybe learned something throughout.